Gabby Thomas reached for the line. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden already gone in a blazing 21.84, Anavia Battle a stride ahead at 22.05. Thomas crossed in 22.197 seconds. Brittany Brown in 22.198. 1/1000th of a second, a distance thinner than the stitching on a bib number, kept Thomas on the plane to Tokyo and sent Brown home staring at the scoreboard. In a single frame, the United States women's 200-meter final turned from routine qualifier to season-saving miracle. That sliver mattered because only the top 3 earn automatic entry to the World Championships that open on the 25th of October. Jefferson-Wooden and Battle were never in doubt. Thomas, the Harvard-trained epidemiologist who owns a World Championship silver from Budapest, spent 99 meters fighting off adrenaline, then spent 90 seconds waiting while officials confirmed the photo. 22.197 blinked beside her name, third place locked, 22.198 beside Brown's name, ticket canceled. The announcer called it closer than a breath. The timing software logged it as a margin of 0.001 seconds, the smallest allowable under World Athletics rules. The race snapshot looks even sharper against Thomas's recent calendar. Just 4 weeks earlier, tendons in her left Achilles flared so badly, she skipped spike work and spent mornings aqua jogging in a waist-deep pool. That hiccup came on top of the stress fracture that cost her 3 months in 2023, and the overturned whereabouts case that nearly sidelined her in 2020. One bad half step in Eugene would have written a brutal punchline to 5 years of recovery and controversy. Instead, the clock flipped in her favor by the width of a pencil line. The moment was impossible to miss. Neon pink singlet, matching custom New Balance spikes, arms spread in relief as the scoreboard settled. Social media latched onto the color story, but insiders saw the deeper headline. The United States women's 200 squad almost left its world silver medalist behind. Now Thomas carries the momentum of a last-second survival act into a 9-week build-up for Tokyo, where a time 2/10 faster could make her a medal lock, and a time 5/10 faster would chase the American record itself. Next up, we rewind to the injuries and the anti-doping scare that made this 1,000th second margin feel like destiny catching its breath. The razor-thin win in Eugene makes sense only when you trace the landmines Gabby Thomas stepped over to get there. It started in 2020, the year she graduated from Harvard and signed her first New Balance deal. 3 whereabouts filing errors landed on her athlete bio like red flags. The athletics integrity unit counted them as a potential suspension, but paperwork from a Boston testing lab proved 1 knock had never been attempted. Case dismissed, no ban. Yet the episode drilled a single mantra into her head. Keep the phone on, keep the calendar clean. She rolled that lesson into an Olympic bronze in the 200 meters at Tokyo and a relay silver the next summer in Budapest. Then, the body asked for its payment. In April 2023, a dull ache in her left hip turned into a stress fracture of the femoral neck. 12 weeks in a pool, 0 steps on a track. She taped a sticky note reading 21:5 to her laptop screen, the personal best time she refused to let become nostalgia. By October, she was back under coach Tanya Buford-Bailey's watch, opening workouts with anti-rotation core drills and closing them with slow, grinding hill sprints designed to rebuild bone density without the shock of spikes. The comeback rails held until early July of this year, when the left Achilles flared 6 days after she ran 21.95 seconds in Miami. An ultrasound showed no tear, only swelling, but the medical staff put her in an altitude treadmill for 7 days, capped ground contact to 30 minutes, and replaced starts with resisted aqua jogs. 2 weeks out from the US Championships, she still had not touched a starting block. Her first true spike workout came 72 hours before the heats, 80 meters at 95% effort, full recovery. The stopwatch read 10.02 seconds. Good enough to buy confidence, but far from the pop she showed in Florida. That is the context behind the 1,000th margin. A whereabouts scare, a cracked hip, an Achilles that whispered, "Not today." And still she found 22.197 seconds when the season sat on the brink. Every paper-thin surviving step now feeds a Tokyo buildup that promises either the medal her talent has forecast for years, or one more chapter in a career that never seems to take the easy lane. Split sheets and slow-motion clips tell the real comeback story. In Eugene, Thomas covered the curve in 11.35 seconds. That is the first 100 meters plus a few extra meters of bend, fast enough to keep Melissa Jefferson-Wooden in sight, but not fast enough to challenge for the lead. The decisive stretch was the straightaway, 10.85 seconds from the midpoint of the curve to the finish. For context, when she ran 21.95 seconds in Miami 2 months earlier, her straight split was 10.80. The difference, 5/100ths of a second, is exactly the margin that separated a comfortable qualifying spot from the photo finish panic. Coach Tanja Buford-Bailey's remedy after the hip fracture and Achilles flare-up was equal parts power and protection. Twice a week, Thomas now straps a 10-kilogram sled to her waist and drives 60 meters, learning to load the posterior chain without the ballistic shock of block starts. On alternate days, she runs uphill 150-meter repeats at a 6% grade, just enough incline to force knee lift while trimming ground impact. In biomech terms, her contact time has dropped from 125 milliseconds pre-injury to 118 this summer, a tiny but crucial window where force meets track. Then, there is the psychology of speed. Sports psychologists call it enclothed cognition, the idea that what you wear alters how you perform. Thomas chose a neon pink kit for the US Championships, a shade nowhere in the New Balance catalog last season. In an interview with Sporting News, she joked, "If I feel like a highlighter, maybe I will run like I am under one." Whether confidence boost or coincidence, her Instagram reel of the outfit pulled 3.2 million views in 24 hours, enough to trigger a $15,000 social reach bonus written into her shoe deal. Overlay Miami and Eugene footage frame by frame, and you see identical knee angles on the curve. Proof the hip fracture rehab held its gains, but a subtle difference on the straight. In Miami, her left foot strikes 12 centimeters in front of the center of mass line. Pure efficiency. In Eugene, fatigue nudged that strike to 15 centimeters. That extra contact distance costs a 100th per step, accumulating into the 5/100ths she needs to shave before Tokyo. Add the numbers, more sled power, sharper ground contact, and a psychological pop of color. If those pieces hold and fatigue drops one notch, a 21.80 lap is on the table, medal territory by any championship standard. But the window is narrow, 9 weeks to Tokyo. Every 100th still counts double. Tokyo will decide whether Gabby Thomas's season becomes a nice comeback story or a career-defining breakthrough. The entry lists close on the 1st of October. Her 22.20 season's best places her 5th on the 2025 world chart behind Shericka Jackson at 21.71, Dina Asher-Smith at 21.90, and Jefferson-Wooden and Battle, her own US teammates. To survive 2 qualifying rounds and reach the final, she likely needs 22.10 or better in the semifinal, exactly the time she managed on tired legs in Eugene. Hit that again with fresher legs, and she is in the last 8. Scenario 1 is the hold steady. Thomas repeats 22 flat in the final, finishes 5th or 6th, and pockets the standard $25,000 World Athletics placing bonus. New Balance adds $10,000 for a top 6, and she leaves Tokyo healthy, ranked top 5 globally, and primed for the 2026 Diamond League. Scenario 2 is the small pop. Training gains and sharper rest hand her a 21.80. That time has earned bronze at every global meet since 2017. A medal triggers New Balance's silver tier escalator of $25,000, plus appearance fee increases next season, estimated at $5,000 per meet. It also locks her onto every US Championship poster for 2026. Marketing gold she can leverage long after spikes come off. Scenario 3 is the moonshot. She gets a perfect tailwind inside the legal limit, nails an 11.2 curve and a 10.65 straight, and stops the clock at 21.69, breaking Gwen Torrance's 30-year-old American record. That unlocks a $50,000 New Balance record bonus, a $50,000 World Athletics World Lead bonus, and vaults her into the conversation with Jackson and Elaine Thompson-Herah for the fastest half lap of the century. The record also adds 0.02 of a percentage point to every future sponsorship negotiation, a tiny number that means 6 figures over the life of a contract. Which lane will she land in? Drop your prediction below. Type steady for 22 flat, pop for 21.80, or record for any time under 21.70. Screenshot your pick, tag the channel, and the closest call gets a shout out in our Worlds recap. 9 weeks, 1 healed Achilles, and a comeback already defined by 1/1000th of a second margin. The next medal, or record, will be decided by the same ruthless clock.